Ms. Mona Pasquio.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, Mr. Commissioner, Lord. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. And as Mr. Simon, Chairman Simon said, being at Meta for 4 years has been a great experience after 20 some odd years in state government. We are proud to partner with the California African American Chamber of Commerce. And we do so because at our core, it's to support small businesses, to support community, but in that, small businesses have been a big part of it. So in that spirit, in that vein, I just wanted to announce that the California African American Chamber of Commerce and the California Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we are going to in April convene a small business roundtable with members of the legislature who they're in the midst of introducing and passing bills that have to do with AI. And unless we have our voices, your voices, the voices of small business at the table as they consider these bills, then then something's wrong. So you have to be there. We're really looking forward to this, and your chamber leadership will have more to announce. So, but to the really big thing, and I'm such a fan. I don't know, I met you years ago through Mignon Moore when I worked with her at the White House, and I remember meeting you, and I remember thinking, in 1978, you came here on vacation, and you didn't find the job that you wanted, and so you went and started your own company, and I thought, I want to be her when I grow up. But imagine, with a loan from her mom, she set forth and said, I'm going to do this. This entrepreneur said, I am going to. If I can't find what I want, I'm going to make it happen. And she did. And she's become this businesswoman, this mentor, this legend, this author. Founder and CEO of the Act One Group, the largest privately held minority woman-owned personnel company in the U.S. She is the first African-American woman to build and own a $1 billion company. She is amazing. She always makes time for people, and when I asked Mignon, what should I say, she said, just bring her to the stage. Don't spend a lot of time talking about her, because everyone wants to hear from her. Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful, the amazing, the entrepreneur, businesswoman, and author, Janice Bryant.
And build a multi-billion-dollar company. Fondly known as JBH, she started the company in 1976 with just a few $100s.
JBH has led the Act One Group to become one of the largest workforce solutions organizations in the world, providing services and technologies in more than 35 countries. In 2022, received the Women's Entrepreneurship Day Organization Business Pioneer Award at the United Nations, and was honored with Black Enterprise's Woman of the Year Award. Over the years, investing millions in education, scholarships, and mentorships. As an entrepreneur, author, philanthropist, and board member of numerous organizations, JBH believes that you should never compromise who you are personally to become who you wish to be professionally.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Janice Bryant Howroy. Thank you. Good afternoon. Yes, thank you. God is good, isn't he? Absolutely. Well, Ms. Howroy, thank you for taking time out of your busy global schedule, which I know firsthand because TAS Strategies is honored to work for and with the Act One Group. I know that through two administrations, thank you. through 2 administrations, you served as a 2 different energy secretaries. You served as a Department of Energy ambassador. And I know now that you've received another presidential appointment by way of the Department of Commerce. And you are a Minority Business Enterprise Council member for the Minority Business Development Agency. Can we please? Would you like to share with our group today this recent appointment, one of many that you've had over your amazing journey?
With a lot of thought, I invest my time. So I'm not taking time to be here. I'm investing time to be here. It's important we understand the dynamics. Everything matters and everyone matters. When I was approached by MBDA, Minority Business Development Agency, how many people in this room are familiar with the Minority Business Development Agency? That's far too few, even though there were many hands raised. The Minority Business Development Agency. Can you hear someone talking?
I can.
It's in my ear, really loud.
Yeah, so I'm going to again ask that we invoke Yo Gabba Gabba, but not inside voice, just that we be quiet during this period. Thank you.
Yeah, not as a discourtesy to anyone, but it's coming through our mics really loud in our ears when you're talking. We probably hear you better than the person next to you does. But the Minority Business Development Agency there are very few agencies that govern this great United States. I think there are about 13 of them. But the Minority Business Development Agency was particularly set up to support and ensure that minority businesses gain federal contracts. However, the rules, the guidelines, and the clarity around those have pretty much failed most Black businesses. I use data to support that. That's not an opinion. I'm not here to share my perspective on that, although I'm happy to in the hall if you want to ask me. But we've not been as successful in gaining these contracts. Now, when you're talking federal contracts, you're talking a lot of dollars. And the idea often has been that minority businesses, may I be free to say,
Absolutely.
Black businesses especially, don't bring the ability to service these contracts, particularly around the governance that's required to succeed in them. So Don Cravens, who just left that position as head of the Minority Business Development Agency, approached me as one of his last words. Would I join a first advisory committee to the agency? The goal of the advisory committee is to bring business and commercial level knowledge to the whole agency so that we can ensure it fulfills its mission. That's a lot of work, and it's work I wasn't really looking forward to doing now that I'm well over 70 years old. But I am in particular interested to do it. Well, primarily because I'm looking at you in here. How many people in this room are minority business owners by definition in the U.S.? Okay. How many of you have federal contracts? I see 2 hands. How many of you have fulfilled over $50 million annually on a federal contract? That's a key shell for the opportunity that's available, and not one hand went up. Ergo my case.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We have a lot of work to do, and following the extraordinary example that you have given all of us. Can you talk to us about your journey? How do we arrive here at the Westin? How do we arrive at a $3 billion global enterprise?
4.2, but who's counting?
4.2 billion, excuse me. Can you talk to these many emerging companies in this room about this journey as a person and a business?
Let me ask this question then. You see, I came to be relevant, not to be on stage. How many of you in this room already knew who I was before I was introduced? Okay, so if you already knew who I was, you probably know a little bit about how I got here. How I got here is pretty much how you got here. And I'm reminded of a song, and since I'm not a singer, I dare not go there, but you know that I'm from Tallboard, North Carolina, okay? Tallboard, North Carolina, I have to be very thoughtful to and not share just the downside of that, but the upside, because I have a sister in the room with me who flew in from Tallboard, North Carolina, and she has threatened me dearly if I put a spotlight on her. But I'm going to do it anyway. That's my sister, Linda Bright. We grew up in church, and church was the whole community.
Yes.
Okay, whether you were in the building or not, you were in church. Somebody blessing you, praying over you, throwing holy water, healing, putting fire out of you, all that kind of stuff. That's where I grew up. I also grew up in a town that was deeply, deeply segregated. By that I mean, with no street divided white from black, and the only diversion to that, or other diversity to that, I might say, were two Jewish families. They owned stores downtown. I grew up in a community that everyone around me looked like me. And most professional people in my community were preachers and teachers. By the way, they still are. We need to honor that. Sometimes we want to walk away from that. And you ask, how did I get here? I asked myself that. I went to St. Paul Baptist Church, and they used to sing a song in that church. If you know it, please sing it, because you sound better than I do, I'm sure. But we sang a song. Sometimes my soul looks back and wonders how I got over. And that's the question I ask myself. Has anybody in here ever heard that song?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so a lot of hands didn't go up. Y'all need to go and y'all need to listen to Mahalia Jackson. Well, what's Nelson's name? What's his name? You need to go Justin Nelson. You need to go back and you need to YouTube your AI-ness of things and your techiness of things, and you need to find it and hear it, because that's the story of how I got here. Or you could listen to Sam Cooke say, I was born by the river.
Yes.
Tarboro was a town on the river. In its early ages, Commissioner, Tarboro was looked at to be the capital of North Carolina, not Raleigh. And the folk in Tarboro were so full of the beauty that they had created in that town that they determined they didn't want it to be the state capital, because it would interrupt the way of life and it would bring shenanigans and hooligans to the town. I'm talking about an area where when the Civil War was fought, they thought the town was too pretty, so they went outside of the town to fight, and they later called the area that they actually fought the Civil War in Battle Ground. Now, think about that, folks, because that's got a lot to do with how we got into this room. Right, Ron Williams?
Right.
The town is too pretty to destroy during the Civil War. So you strategically maneuver to fight outside of the town. I don't know how that makes sense. I'm glad the town survived. I don't know how that makes sense, but that's how a lot of us are decisioning for our businesses. So forgive me, I want to talk to the business owners who raise their hand. These are my people. This is what I understand. This is my hood. You know, I was asked a question similar to what you asked. How did I get from Tarboro to here? This question may be better relevant for this room that I was asked. How did you get from a $10 million company to your first billion? And I thought about it. I didn't have a plan for it at that time, but this is how it happened. Two questions. One, am I solving problems to take care of a problem? Or am I solving problems to create a solution? Does anybody in here understand what I mean by that? You got mic carriers?
Yes.
You got mic carriers
Yes,
in
we
this
do.
room?
Yes.
Can a mic carrier go to somebody?
Mike.
Who understands what I mean by that? Raise your hand, please. Okay, this young lady right here, can she get a mic real quick? I'm messing up your time.
No, you're not. No, this is what it's about. Absolutely.
Please stand and identify. I think she was right there. Raise your hand again. Raise your hand again, please.
Can't withdraw now. You put your hand up. We don't send a mic. We need you to.
Yeah.
Please just identify yourself and just go with the flow.
Look, I'm not being paid to be here, so, you know, I'm going in.
Thank God.
No, thank you. This is all for you. So, I'll repeat it for you, and then you share your name and your response to it. And we'll put it this way. Am I solving problems to take care of a problem, or am I solving problems to create a solution? Go with it.
Well, solving problems to create a solution is exactly the goal. That's what it should be, so that you can be able to make certain that everything is taken care of and all the needs are met. That is my take on what you just stated.
And your take is appropriate for you and likely appropriate for many of us. If we didn't get your name and
Patty Brown is my name.
And your
Thank
business,
you.
your business and your chamber.
I'm not a part of a chamber as we speak, although I'm in the process of trying to make certain that we are. I work for Optimum Medical.
at the end of service, we invite you to come in. Thank you. And you're kind of spot on, because the thing I was doing for many years and 10 million strong at it was I was solving problems and feeling quite successful and good for doing so. But to be profitably at $1 billion organization, I would even say to be profitably at $1 million organization, and in particular in today's world, we've got to solve problems towards solutions. How am I going to pay the rent? So I'm going to go get a loan, solving a problem. How am I going to build this business debt-free? Is solving toward a solution. And most of us are the first of us from our families. Y'all get me? You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna call on you no more. You gotta be scared of it. Well, we've got to be very thoughtful today. You just heard the brilliant Dr. Julianne Malveaux sit here and express to us where we are in today's journey. That ain't much farther. In some ways, it may not be further at all than where I was growing up in Tallboy, North Carolina, where when I would walk down the street, if a white person passed by me, I had to step off the sidewalk into the street for them to pass. Or if I was in a store buying something and a white person came in line behind me, I had to wait and let them go in front of me. And the first year, and then the first year, I integrated in my town at the 11th grade. That meant I walked from East Tarboro across Panola Street into other Tarboro to go to the white school. It was the worst year of my life until the year my husband transcended during COVID. During COVID. And I won't even use your time to describe that. Each of you likely has some challenge or some experience that's been equally horrible for you. Let me just say that my brothers had to walk with me to school and got special permission to leave Patillo School, the black school, to be at Tarboro High, to wait for me at the door and walk me back home. If you've ever seen the movie Long Walk Home, Ruby Goldberg, that's it, okay? And so this is where I grew up. And the journey to here has been made not because of that, but despite that. When I consider just how unwanted I was at that school, and how often and harshly I was approached at that school, it could make me feel less engaged to keep moving forward. But I've got a sister right here who's just a few years younger than me. Don't believe y'all when she says she's 10 years younger. Who had a totally different experience. You see, my journey here, I'll conclude in saying, I was born and identified on my birth certificate as colored. Then I learned that I was a Negro. Then James Brown said, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud, and I became African American. And the thread weaved between all of that was nigger. So how I got here was understanding who I was, and y'all have heard it before, it's not what they call me, it's understanding what, and in order to understand how to answer, I had to understand what questions to ask. And that's why I'm asking you guys, in particular business owners, but any of you wherever you are, become solvers toward solutions and stop fixing problems.
Thank you. Wow. Wow. Can you tell us about the poem If?
How many of you in here know the poem If? Okay, I see one hand up. I don't want to mess up on this. My dad made us learn this poem. What made you ask me that question? I gotta find it. Okay, but I'm kind of a Gen Z, so I can work it. Hold on. Let me read it for you. I'm going to ask you, though, as I asked an audience where I did get paid to do this, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes while I read it. So take a good look at where your purses and cell phones are. Make sure the person next to you trust. And don't read ahead with me. I'm going to read it for you. And close your eyes. Please, trust. Close your eyes. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all people doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't always have to look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, and if you can meet with triumph and disaster, and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you think in your life too broken, then stoop and build them up with your worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings, risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose, then start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they've gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except your will, which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with queens and kings, nor lose your common touch. If neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, and all people count with you, but none too much. If you can fill that unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, then yours is the earth and everything in it, and which is more, in life you will have won. That's it. You may open your eyes. So it was a poem written by the author William Kipling. And our dad, I was going to say my dad, my sister's in the room, our dad made all of us learn that poem. And we had to learn that poem at 4th grade. He insisted we learn that poem, and then he would refer back to that poem as we continued our journey up to adulthood and leaving his home. And he felt that it had lessons and was a great guide to how we should live our lives. Importantly, there were 11 of us. I am one of 11 kids, one mom, one dad, okay, old school. And when we'd have dinner, people said, it sounds like you're partying in there. You know, Dad's goal for that poem was that we live as a family and we support each other and we take care of each other. And then once we were no longer at home and in that family of 13 people, we could extend the lessons from that poem into whatever family, community, or service we chose to live. And I kind of pray that Dad's hearing me say that right now, because it was really important to him that we all had a care for each other, and in caring for each other, we know, I think it was Oprah who said years ago, never dim your light that others may shine. You can bring humility in a room and still be the brightest light.
Yes. Thank you. I have to keep up, and I didn't on your asset size or your market cap, but at last count, the Act One group has 35 offices around the world.
Brick and mortar.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying.
Yes, and our technology speaks over 50 languages. It was technology that became the leader for our global growth. It was understanding people at the local level, and we had a lady who just passed away who had worked for our company for 30 years before she retired 15 years ago. And I had to speak about her. I wanted to speak about her in a meeting. And one of the things I remembered was that she said she felt the reason our company was growing and really successful, I think we were about $50 million then, is because at our company, we live by the mantra that the applicant is the center of the universe. The worker is the center of the universe. And in our industry, most companies are busy courting Meta and Google and Apple, and leaving their jelly beans in the hands of the people who work there. In our company, we give a little book, which I have got the permission to rewrite. It was written originally as a man thinketh, and I rewrote it as a person thinketh. And we give that to people when they gain jobs instead of jelly beans. You're not going to get any jelly beans from me when they get jobs. And we really care about them as the soul of who we are. My sister told me when she opened her company, American Beauty Salon, I used to say, can I come by your shop and get my hair done? She said, I don't have a shop. Go take your car to a shop. Bring your head to my salon. No hate, no shops, okay? But she said that her core, I'm not going to put you on the spot, so chill sis. She said that her mantra was that the customer is always first, but not always right. Okay?
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, she said you can get in a lot of trouble if you own a hair salon and you let your customer tell you what to do, especially when they want all that color put in their hair before we start to get these incredible wigs and weaves. So I just think that we can carry that lesson into wherever we are and however we work, about understanding where your universe is, you know, and where the center of it is. That's what's going to really keep people like to talk about true north. Understanding where your center is, in my opinion, happens to be the strongest thing you can do. There are a lot of people in this room right now, I ain't trying to sound like a preacher, but there are a lot of people in this room right now who you're trying to get back to your center. Or maybe you forgot that you need to be in your center. You know the core, what really matters to you. You know, when we say the applicant is the center of our universe, how do we live that? How do we go beyond saying that and doing that and living that? Does that applicant feel that? Do they believe that? And is that their experience? And so business owners, again, everybody in here, you know, you are a brand, okay? You are your own business. If you don't believe it, then try going without your income for a bit and see what happens. But in particular, not but, my daughter said, when you say but, that means everything you just said isn't true. In particular, if you are a business owner, invest the time to think about what's really core to you, and then let that be your guiding light, and make certain that all your policies, your procedures, your marketing, your relationships, how you pay people, examples that you mean that. Otherwise, you may as well just put it on a wall and let it read the way so many other mottos do that people truly don't live from.
Yes, and thank you for emphasizing that brick and mortar, because I know in the virtual world today, there can be a presence that you can't, being an attorney, there could be a presence that you can't find if you have to serve papers. So I think it's very important to say that not only have you invested in these countries, but you have invested in the actual presence, the physical presence. As a global enterprise, a holding company, and a global person, because you are a global citizen. Fortunate.
From Tarboro, North Carolina.
Tarboro, North Carolina. I got that. But, you know, working with you, working for you, knowing where I've spoken to you from, or we've emailed or text. Can you talk to our...
But I do want to say this. I may own houses in a lot of places, but home is Tarboro, North Carolina.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Those who are looking at the global enterprise, because so often we are labeled or typecasted in a way to say that this is all we get, this is all we have, yet there is a whole world. Gil Scott-Heron had a song called It's Your World.
Yeah.
What advice can you give to businesses that are looking beyond the shores of the United States, California and the United States?
For some time now, Commissioner, I've shared that, you know, most businesses are born global. So you are a global business regardless of where you're doing business. By that I mean, whoever is buying from you has the opportunity, and today more than ever, to be able to source globally. So I can pull this out and talk with you. Well, I can buy anything I want, likely it's going to be coming out of China. I can buy anything I want while talking with you from anybody, anywhere. And that's services and products. So I think the first piece of advice I would give is to understand why you're in business and what you want that to look like. People start businesses for very many different reasons, and sometimes the starting reason may iterate and change. That's okay. As a matter of fact, that's exciting if you're really into it. The second thing I would say is understand the power of the internet to your business. Businesses are born global today. My son, when he graduated, and my goodness, it's been years now since that was, I still see him as my kid. When he graduated, one of his buddies started a business that took care of certain aspects of autism. His first 4 customers were not U.S. clients. He started his business on the internet, and he continued and grew it, and it was a circle to get back to the U.S. So I think you want to really look at the power of technology to your business. You heard me earlier say it was the technology that put us in these other countries, and then the people in our company who helped us to build that up and make that a business. It is so powerful for you to understand not just the components of technology that help you to conduct business, but the power of technology to actually determine a lot about who you are and how you get to do that. Now, most people are familiar with folks getting caught up in legal issues around texts and emails that get recovered, right? And they become admissible in court. You're an attorney, you can speak to that. all this stuff you're putting on your cell phones and and look, I'm a social media baby. I already told you, okay? I'm Gen Z and I'm likely gonna be
Ask JBH.
a little bit, okay, so I'm out there, okay? I'm thoughtful about everything that goes out there and that I can stand behind it. And so you must be in your business. The lady over at Sony, the president, lost her job and her reputation behind sharing emails that she later said were just jokes and making fun of Kevin Hart. Anybody in here remember that? You guys familiar with that? If you're familiar with that, raise your hand. Okay, very few people are familiar with that, but this woman lost her job because she was engaged in emailing, making jokes about Kevin Hart. So I want you to understand the power of it to uplift and to elevate and to expand your business. It also has the power to shut you down if you're not appropriate in it.
I'm glad you brought that up because you're my dear friend, former speaker, former mayor, Willie Brown, who's also, and is a brilliant attorney, once said to me that the E in email stands for evidence. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And I have had the honor to engage with your son, Brett Howard. And let me say that the fruit doesn't fall far from the vine, number one. And I've yet to meet a young man who is discretionary and wise and focused, and targeted as I've experienced. So congratulations on the succession as well. I think that is so important for all of us. And that's quite an
We
accomplishment.
never talked to Brett nor Kate. Thank you, I received that, thank you. We never talked with Brett nor Kate, our daughter, about coming into my business. We always left it open for them. Our dinner table was a recipe of what not to do. We talked politics, we talked religion, we talked money at the table. Most folks, they don't do that. We engaged heartily in it. We would argue back and forth across the table that would look to someone as if we were fighting, and then 2 minutes later our ring's playing and we're up dancing around the table before we got to dessert. And that's the home they grew up in. And so their decision, both Kay and Brett's decision to work in the business was their decision. Having had those conversations, having been engaged with them in what most people would say taboo type conversations they don't remember when that wasn't the case. It was important to me they had that. Number one, I knew that they would be engaging with family from across the world as well. We are not only an international company, we are an international family. I wanted them to understand who they were. When I came home from a meeting and Kay was crying at 3 years of age and asking me why the only good black people were in our family, I knew I was on a mission that I had not identified for myself when I chose to give birth to her. She'd seen something on the news, and she continued to see these segments around, and black folks in the street, and cops pulling up, and this one particular segment just tore her apart. So she wanted to know why our family was the only good black family, and I said, well, I ain't that good if that's what my baby is thinking. I gotta correct that. And so it became important to me that they have a full recipe of what makes the meal. And so no conversations were taboo for our children growing up. Now, Kay graduated university. She went to university at 14 years old. So she was a little bit ahead of it. But Brett was right there with her at the emotional level of understanding. And I got to brag a little bit. I'm really excited because on April 18th, Brett and Louisa, his wife, are going to give me my first grandbaby. So I'm really excited about that. Which is why the work that's happening in here is so important for all of us, because we generationally are going to be the larger of the population. And if we continue to be the lesser of the economy, then we are setting ourselves up for not only a phenomenal failure for the people we identify with, but the world. We drive so much of the solution. That hometown of Tallberg, North Carolina that I shared with you is so beautiful to look at, has a Civil War cannon in our town common. We're the second oldest common. Boston has the first oldest. Has a Civil War cannon there, and it has a press, a gin press from cotton, right, in it. And if we are not engaging ourselves in the new economy, not only engaging, but defining the new economy, then we are creating some challenges that are going to be a lot bigger than just whether or not we get an opportunity under an elected president. It desperately matters that we are all voters and responsible voters. We need to be voting at the local levels,
Yes.
as well as the federal levels. We need to be paying attention to what's happening at the local level. And having those conversations with our children. Have the conversations with your children. When you've given them too much information, they'll do the same thing you do. They stop listening. But you keep sharing. You keep sharing. Oh, Lord, I can't tell you how many times I just have my little silent giggle to myself when I hear either Kay or Brett say something, and I know they were listening. They were listening. They're repeating, you know. So I really care that we pay attention to our politics at the very local level. And mayors are some of the strongest politicians in this nation. Mayors influence presidents. Former presidents don't really have that much power. They have prowess. They are the greatest ambassadors for us in this nation. They don't, it takes a really unique person to be a president of power. Mayor's got the power.
Yes. And you see our board member, JBH, which you allowed me to call you for purposes of our interview, I want to just do a time check because she has agreed to questions and answers, and I'm looking for our crew or team. How are we on time? We're there, okay. Before we go into questions, I'd like to talk to you about a social media platform, amongst others, that I'm addicted to, and that's proudly, by the way, and that's Ask JBH. Can you talk to us about this amazing community that you've created, the unbelievable, insightful guests that you've dialogued with? Can you share with us about this part of your journey, and then we'll go into questions and answers.
It is incredible the span of people who have come into the Ask JBH podcast. And each week I get, each month, I get an email from Nathan, who manages that for me under Christy Pittman's leadership, right there, okay. Of people who want to come on that podcast and just have, we are a platform where, number one, we look to not just inspire, but educate. For years, people would say, oh, you're such an inspiring speaker when I would do speeches. I'd have the time to think about them, to curate the message around the needs and the interests of the audience, and then to deliver it in a way that had been thoughtfully forecast. And they said, you're such an inspiring speaker. And I feel this let down. And my brother Carlton asked me, why is it when people say that to you, you viscerally fall? I said, because, you know, inspiration is great, it's core, it's essential. But when I got people's attention, I want to be teaching something. I want to be sharing what I've learned. You know, they can play, I teach people, play the music that takes you where you want to go. We already witnessed, I can't sing, you know. So Ask JBH is a platform that allows me to talk with people from various places and stages in their lives. I talked with an entrepreneur from my alma mater, North Carolina A&T. I gotta do that because I know Chrissy's filming me and she's gonna share that. But I do it from my heart as well. And this young man is just, you guys got to talk with him. He is phenomenal. We haven't posted that podcast yet, but he is phenomenal. I've talked with women who've led issues and toward solutions around challenges that face uniquely women and people who identify as women. I've talked with Vaughn Williams, who's in here, the great Vaughn Williams. And so it's just like a family reunion, and the family keeps growing, and people are sharing their interests and their knowledge, but I insist that each one is an opportunity for people to learn, not just be inspired. Please don't leave here and think I'm not about inspiration. I can give a Holy Ghost dance with y'all and really feel it, okay? But if I haven't taught you anything, once that energy, it's like a sugar high, right? You know, you eat the sugar, you feel good, and you can dance, but it's that fall after. If I haven't taught you anything, I don't want you to be standing up, moving and yelling, because we got in here and I cracked a few jokes and laughed, although I was tempted to do that. I'd much rather you leave here and say, oh, I got that, I learned that, I thought that. That confirmed something for me. That affirmed something for me. So, Ask JBH Podcast is where we do that.
Thank you for it. It is so rich. It has changed my life. We're going to go into questions and answers. We are all in some form or fashion part of the diaspora. In terms of the African diaspora, I don't know what happened where we give lectures and don't ask questions. That's for the historians, okay? But this is question and answers, and we have mic runners. And we are now going to open up where you can talk to the one and only JBH on a one-on-one question and answer level. Is there anyone out there?
They're raising their hands.
Okay.
Maybe if the mics are here, they come to the mic.
Okay.
Maybe bring the mic
Starting.
forward. I ain't trying to tell you how to run your business.
Yeah, Jock, we have one in front of you, Jock, board member Sharon Evans, who serves on our board. Hello, Sharon.
Good afternoon. May I walk and talk?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, and I do.
Oh, careful now.
You're not going to pick me up today.
Well, you just answered that.
All right, clumsy but good. Thank you so much for being here. You have been an icon for me, and I'm grateful. I don't even know if you remember, but I did a lot of work on the Hill.
You did a lot of
A lot of work on the Hill.
Uh-huh.
And I was a previous rendition of Novel Los Angeles, even when we brought Victoria Lowe to take the stand. But at the time of that work, you taught me how to work the Hill and how to be remembered and how to get noticed by undersecretaries as I was serving on all these panels and stuff. And so I learned to write a note card and have it delivered to their office the moment I walked out of the room because you gave me that. Today, things are different. In this digital moment, undersecretaries ain't reading their email. What advice can you give to us on how do we connect with those higher executives that can change the trajectory of our businesses and our lives in this digital age?
This is age-old advice, so it really doesn't come from me, it comes through me. And that is, you gotta learn to speak with people about what they're interested in and not just what you're interested in. If I walk out of this room and 5 people walk up to me, and 4 of them are saying, oh, I got this business and so and so and so, oh, you know, but if somebody says, I understand that you're looking at evolving the AI in your technology, and this, so, you know, it's very important that we learn that. The other thing is, we live in a TikTok world. So you gotta learn to express what you're really wanting to get across in 15 seconds or less. 15 seconds is a lot of time. Try buying ad space if you don't believe it. You know, it's a lot of time. And you've got to have enough of a relationship that suggests that reading and following through to you is going gonna be worth it to that person. If you don't have the creds with them, then you gotta get someone else to introduce for you. There are a lot of people who I gained relationships with, not because I was assertive enough to go up to them and introduce myself, although I am that. A lot of my relationships are established because I will ask someone who has the credibility. I will say, Commissioner Simon, I want to talk with so-and-so. This is my issue. How do I bring something of value to them? And if it's not the time for it, it's not the time for it. Likely, especially with you, Ms. Sharon, it will be the time for it. And I'm so glad you asked that question because we have to remind ourselves of that, you know? Then you've got to be honest about where you are. There's a poem, and I'm not going to give y'all another poem. I'll just give you this piece of it, though. It says, "We think in secret and it comes to pass. Environment is but our looking glass." We are where we are in business based on what we've chosen to do. Not what we've chosen to have, not what we've chosen as circumstances, but what we've chosen to do with that. And when I mentioned TikTok world, when we're living in this world where we are all paying, people say, oh, I don't do social media anymore, I don't do social media anymore. God bless you, that's good if you don't want to do it. I'm all up in it. I'm all up in it. Now, I come correct, but I'm all up in it because I need to know what's going on in the world. I don't not watch whatever it is that's happening in the moment or diss people for what their interests are, because if 75% of the people are watching that and you're just too good to pay attention to it, guess what? You're out of sync with what 75% of your potential customers are interested in. So you've got to also make sure that you're understanding what they're looking for and not just what you're seeking for. The old-fashioned art of introduction is money. When I come to Commissioner Simon and I ask him to introduce me to this person or this senator or this CEO, I'm walking in with ready attention and likely singular attention. And then I make certain that I'm highly responsive digitally. If I've been given a cell phone number, I'll send a text and say thank you. If I've been given a card and it only has an email address on it, I'm going to respond to that. I'm not reaching out to people trying to gain their attention through those devices, through those platforms. I'm thanking them because I've been socially invited into their community. So ask around who can introduce you, you know, and be a keeper of your word.
Thank you very much for having this conference. I'm Jacques Talafero with La Hits Digital TV, and we started putting video on the internet in 2003, actually right here in LA. I'm out of San Francisco. And we chose the Pan African Film Festival because it's international. Now, if you look at Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, etc., none of those companies started until 2005, 2006. So right now, I came to this particular conference because all of the brown and black entrepreneurs that I saw in Silicon Valley, we saw YouTube, all those people coming up, and they basically have just kind of like zoomed past us. That's how come I'm very interested in what you're saying, but more so than meeting you because I wasn't aware of you before, but I like your presence on the net. So right now, you see like YouTube.
Ask me your question.
Okay, so how can the chamber help us?
How
Okay,
can what?
the chamber help us because like you see YouTube doing the NBA, and we're not doing the NBA, but we covered it from
So you
print to analog,
just
et cetera, et cetera.
exampled what I just referenced, respectfully. I don't know how the chamber can do that as not being core to who the chamber is,
Okay.
but I can turn to the chamber and say, this man has this question. Can you talk with him? Commissioner Simon, can you guarantee someone to talk with him for the investment of his time?
Yes, I can. And Jacques and I have known each other for many years. We have a partnership yes, he will give up the microphone. We have a partnership with Meta, and we've also worked with Amazon and other platforms, and Google as well. But as Mona referenced, we're having a roundtable with the legislature on artificial intelligence to encompass all of this, trust me. So the chamber is very, very engaged in the emerging technology world, in social media, in AI, in 10G, and all the, we work closely with the California Emerging Technology Fund, for example. So this chamber can help. But let me remind you, we're the state chamber. You have Matthew Ajake here, Dr. Ajake, from the San Francisco African American Chamber. So we really try to encourage the folks to work with their local chambers, and then we'll help the local chambers connect to the type of resources that you referenced.
And you may have it already, a composite of your work, a portfolio of your work, or something that is, or allow me to answer, or something that describes what you're looking to do. Oftentimes that can be very helpful to someone who can't give you that personal time, but can commit to look at that and then advance you forward. But these companies who are present here, I agree with you that, you know, they are the right companies to for you to think about connecting with. I just don't I'm a guest here, so I can only be a vessel to the answer for you.
But thank you for that question, and we will follow up with you. And when I say, no, this question is going to be, because we have other people who want to ask questions, but we're going to follow up with you, but not just for dialogue, for programming. So we'll talk about your film festival. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes.
Hi Janice, I'm Talicia Batiste, and I came here for you, to learn from you. I own an assisted living facility for elderly and an in-home care agency.
Well, come up a little, come up.
Okay. Is this supposed to go?
No, come on. Now look. What's your name? Stay right there, sir. What's your name? What's your name?
Talicia.
Talicia. Where were you sitting? Somewhere about here?
Right there.
You got the mic right about here? JBH, thank you so much for being here. My name is Talicia, and I've got a question for you. It's really important to me. You're why I'm here. That's what you said, right?
Yes.
You're why I'm here. If I'm why you're here, come to me. All the presence you have in this room. There are several hundred people in this room. Own the presence you have in this room. Your voice matters.
I solve solutions for families that have parents who need help. Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, and I solve the solutions. There's a challenge in our country right now with the American worker. They don't want to work. And I'm just wondering how you handle that.
Well, first, Talicia, walking on faith that you hear me with love. Please don't say American workers don't want to work. Okay? I'm in the work business. Now, American workers want living wages. American workers want the health care that you offer the elderly before they get there. And American workers want upskilling so that the schools and institutions that taught them along their journey are upskilling them for where the needs are now, right? That may not be your problem to solve, but you are solving something. One thing you said, let me tell you how I heard it. I heard it as, I'm helping people who get old and infirm. Perhaps the solution you're offering is I'm
Come on,
helping families to care for people who reach an elderly age in a way that is respectful and caring of their health needs while embracing that families can continue to grow and stay strong. See, I know what you do because I used an agency such as yours to help me with my beloved husband who got dementia and then Alzheimer's. And I know the value that a company like yours, you didn't know that, did you? I know the value that a company like yours can bring to a family when you have a loved one who's lived with respect and worked and earned the right to comfort and good care. I think one of the things, though, to get to an answer, what I'm doing with you is I'm teaching you to really identify what your problem is and how it serves into your solution. Your problem isn't that people don't want to work. Your challenge is in how to find people who can help you achieve what your goals are. And as an entrepreneur, I can tell you the first day that you hire somebody, you're no longer the most important person in your company. They've got to feel that, they've got to know that. You may want to look at teaching people to do what it is you need to have and to be successful. And there are resources and recourses to do that, that if you don't have, let's talk after this and you'll be one of those 5 people who I'll stop and listen to. Okay?
Thank you. We have time for one question, and I'm going to ask that it be very short, and we hope that we can continue this dialogue with Ms. Janice Bryan Howroyd on another format. But yes, you have the microphone. Please, let's bring it. This is it.
Yeah, you didn't obligate me to something else they need to do.
Trying to avoid that honorarium.
It is an honor to be.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, we'll do 2, but you got to move now. Come on now.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is
You
Amber
just
Harris.
heard us and saw us, the last 3 people out.
Come on down. Come on
If
down.
I'm investing my face time, you invest yours.
Of course. Well, I want to say hello to the chamber. My name is Amber Harris. I currently work at U.S. Bank, so if you need any financing, I am a business banker there. So my question was
Now,
going to
your
be...
first thing should be thank you for being a customer to me.
Yes. Future customer, everyone I'm here for.
Okay, y'all competing for customers right now.
Yes. So regarding, I wrote this down, the minority business agencies for federal contracts. One, I want to figure out how I can be more of a resource to my African American clients. So I want to know what could I potentially do to look for those clients that potentially fit that need for government contracts, and also the industries that are popular that you could potentially see for us to do government contracts as well. So what are the popular industries for that I can look into?
You deserve a thoughtful answer, so I got to think about how you're asking me. You said you're with U.S. Bank.
Yeah, so what I would want to do is a two-way thing. So me personally, I also own a business as well. So
Are you asking for U.S. Bank or for you?
for both. So
Okay,
one,
so
for me to be
U.S.
a
Bank,
resource.
hire me, and I will teach you that. For you, what is the part for you that I
So,
can help?
the question was gonna be in
U.S.
regards
Bank, once they legally contracted.
No, so my question was in regards to just what you're seeing for the industries that are popular that I can look at for the federal contracts. Is it technology? What exactly is that industry
That's a
that I can do?
great, that's a great question, and the answer is even bigger than that. The U.S. government buys everything and a lot of it. It is the largest customer in the world. There is a site, Christy can give you the link to that site. You can go in, and this is for everybody else in here, you can go in and you can source to look for everything they're buying,
Right.
and then you already know that?
No.
Oh, okay. And then you can, if you're looking at it, if you're someone who is helping companies to do that,
Right.
okay, then you can give them that information. What I will tell you is that it is a very long and protracted process.
Right.
It requires a whole, oh, you're saying right, you're agreeing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You go to this site and you can see everything they buy. They don't get to buy anything without it being posted, okay? And then you can resource to your clients from there. My point for you is not a caution, it's an encouragement. It will take a lot to go through the actual procurement process, so you may want to also resource for yourself people who are able to write bids and respond to these, they'll do RFI, they'll do RFQ, however, just like commercial companies do. But it's a long process. No, let me take but back. And it is a long process to go through that. It is a very worthwhile process. The good news is that you can also partner with people when you're bidding for business. And you've got a lot of resources from the Small Business Association if you know how to work it. Otherwise, you're just walking through a revolving door. No disrespect to anybody, but that's a lot of people's experience, is they're just going through a revolving door of effort gain. Not even a revolving door if I got a contract and lose a contract, okay? Okay, but get the link from Christy before she leaves.
Last question. Yes, thank you very much.
Can you hear me? Good afternoon. So first you're going to kill, I don't have a question. I just want to say thank you.
Your name?
Carla Perkins, a Senior Advisor, Supplier Diversity, Southern California, Edison. And I have heard about you, I've heard about you for years, and so I just felt it was a full circle moment for myself. I've been at Edison probably since March of last year for 10 months, and I just... Yes, I am.
Welcome to the family.
But I've heard about you. I actually, like the young lady said, I had a business myself. I was a contract officer for the federal government, and one of my clients...
Did I tell her the truth?
Yeah, you did. The website is sam.gov and fpds.gov, by the way. But anyway, my client would always reference you. This is 10 years ago, and I just feel like it's a full circle moment for myself to actually be in a position to work, and I know that you're one of our larger minority contractors, so I just want to say thank you, and I'm glad to meet you. Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, what else can I say? Janice Bryant Howard, thank you very much. Just a small token of our appreciation for you, and we are so honored to have you in the building. Yes.
We don't want to look like we're getting married. Kim already got...
Are there any other board members in close proximity? Okay, here we go. Thank you very much. Thank you. Matt, ladies and gentlemen, it's Janice Bryant Howard. And her sister, Linda. Okay, we are behind, but I think it was worth it. Does anybody in the room disagree? So we're going to move into our plenary session. Come on, so I get it right. This is going to be, okay, so we have, I'm going to have Ahmad Holmes, our Chief Operating Officer, read the information that accompanies this house. Thank you.
All right, so at this time, we're having our business matchmaking in Ballroom A, which is this way. For those who are attending the Small Business Leadership Training, that is in Ballroom D, which is that way. And then as soon as Mr. Simon finishes, he has a plenary that's going to be starting in the Rodeo Room on the second floor. Once you're finished.
And we're going to have, first off, I want to thank SoCal Gas, Joe Chow, and Vaughn Williams. But Vaughn's going to talk to you about this business matchmaking session. This is so important to what and who we are about, so I'm gonna quickly, because we're over time, turn it over to Vaughn so we can explain to you the business matchmaking process. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. How many businesses do we have in the room? Real quickly. Okay, so for you who are businesses in the room, matchmaking has been designed specifically for you to have the opportunity to meet with business leaders, procurement officers, and the likes thereof who can make decisions on your behalf. In the room next door, I ask that you either have your capabilities to statements or be prepared to speak effectively about your business. You'll get about 3 to 5 minutes to talk to each representative in the room. The ultimate goal is for you to lead with some leads. Also know that we will be following up via technology to ensure that you have a long-term plan to succeed. Additionally, be advised that if you don't have your capability statement today, it's imperative that you get it to whomever you're speaking with so that they can take it back to their leaders at a later time to ensure that you have opportunities. So, matchmaking next door, effectively speaking, 5 minutes max, and understand that the ultimate goal or the end game is to leave with either leads or some type of follow-up to get you to the next level. For SoCal Gas and Missouri will be in the room next door along with Victoria Leonito. And there are a plethora of other companies over there, Meta, US Bank, and some others. So be prepared to seek those opportunities. And the area in the world that I come from, it says, go get the money. Today you're gonna go get the money, okay?
I also want to remind you that at 3:45, our breakout sessions will be taking place on the second floor. You have your diversity and inclusion, which will be in the Hollywood, starting at 3:45. Then you also have AI, and that will be taking place in Melrose. And the African American participant in healthcare industry, that'll take place in the theater. All of those are at 3:45 after the matchmaking. Thank you very much.
Hey, Vaughn, it's Nisha.
Hi, how are you? Thank you. It's good to see you.
I'm from Jacobs.
I know. I remember.
I was actually going to stand by the booth just to see if we could assist in any TV partnering.
Absolutely.
Come to the back of the line. Thank you very much.
Yeah, just go on over here. How are you?
How are you? I know you've been.
Just another reminder, we look forward to seeing you in the business matchmaking next door in Ballroom A. That's taking place currently. And then you can also see Mr. Simon, which started at 2:45, which will be in the Rodeo. He's on his way up there now. And thank you very much.
cake. So I think so she says, you know, I was asking, what's the why? Oh, what's the why? What are we bringing to the conversation? What is we hoping to get out? Getting the anticipated. And then she goes, the idea is a frame ranger is to not be the restroom for us. We have another example of the same. But the good rail, the field arena, the volunteer day. Now, that's fine. That might be more of a internal. It doesn't be an ambassador. We care. We may want to around. Hey, look what we did last year. It's not even true. That's up for too. So you may be better to invite our volunteers. Yes. So the station folks, those who work the project, they can see it from the labor. But, well, yeah, what do you get out of it? What do you get out of it? And I don't know, what I'm having a hard time with her is having her to think over, again, looking at her from start to finish, then talk to her today about COVID with changing over that festival. We can maybe sponsor it and maybe that's why I think I will take, are you trying to solve a problem, or are you trying to solve a problem with a solution? Because I think the solution for us is how do we expand our presence and the problem is that we don't have a real sit down. But how do we put in that? What is it by doing X is going to actually go to actually apply something? Just showing up to that. Now, I will say this. It is very important when I say sometimes.
La mantequilla la van a
Just like, and then what are we anticipating getting out of it? Because you can't, because if you just want to, and you have to walk away from it, it's too much time. 1,000 people into the room and feel like that gets me sitting be on the phone and do phone a phone. So I'm thinking about that as we because I don't know it was a legitimate question, and I responded to it. I said, at some point in time, you almost have to begin thinking about anticipating what my response might be. Because if you don't, and I end up trying to do the work, as much as I can always agree, why am I doing it? And if it happens all the time, I don't think you need to like to do it. So, don't worry. Alright, I know you gotta go figure out what you're doing.
All the way in the back.
All the way in the back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Regina, are you going to Timothy's thing upstairs?
You have the thing upstairs?
Yeah.